last week when I said that we would be done with this ABK stuff for good the next time we record, I thought for sure we would be done.
You was lying.
I cannot believe that we are still we are days away from them closing, and we are still litigating or figuring out what is going on.
I want to be fair. I did say that you was wrong, and you always question me.
It's welcome to the Loading Up Podcast. I'm your host, producer Jay, and I'm here with both of my brothers, Tay and Jay.
Mother.
What's up?
What?
What did he say? What did he say? Is he mad? I keep telling you.
No, not mad.
I'm 100% accurate ever since we started doing those predictions.
You are right. Ever since you did those predictions, you've been calling them. I'm about to tell you. I'm about to ask you what the numbers for the lotto are, because.
Oh, I can't do that. I don't know how that works.
First order of business, like and subscribe, the usual YouTube stuff, and follow us on our socials. We're posting more. At least we're gonna try to.
Yes.
And then that's it. I think,
make
right?
No promises.
No promises. But yeah, so as I was saying, I thought we were done, but we're not, clearly, as we still have more news coming. As we're recording, and in the days that it takes me to edit this, there will be more stuff coming out. So by the time this episode comes out, there will be more information, and it's so frustrating.
And you know what? It's gonna be like this for a couple more weeks.
Yeah,
we're gonna have more ABK news, I feel, for the rest of the year. Maybe the deal will close, but I feel like we'll still have more ABK news.
Probably.
Year.
Yeah,
I'm putting it out there.
Just based on all the stuff that is supposed to happen throughout the rest of the year. Like, we have stuff in August, we have stuff in October. Like, it's a lot. But
we'll definitely get into it, because we're gonna save it for the last leg of the show.
Yeah, because that's usually the bulk of it, as usual.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely.
So hit us with those news, or with that news.
Yes,
I'm not gonna lie to you out there. Say hit us with those nudes. I was like, this is not that type of show.
Wrong podcast.
I made sure.
We've been wrong podcast. We got another one like this.
Hey, I don't
when
know.
When are nudes into that one?
After, excuse me, brother. I don't know. You trying to catch me slipping?
Every time, I hope she listens to every episode from now on.
That's crazy.
You're probably right. But what's up with the news?
All right, we'll jump right into it. So we're gonna start off with some sad news. The creative director for Beyond Good and Evil 2 has suddenly passed away. So Beyond Good and Evil 2 creative director Emily Morrell has passed away. She was 40 years old. It was spotted. It was originally reported by IGN, and it was updated on LinkedIn from Ubisoft Montpellier. So they notified LinkedIn, and then IGN picked it up on it. And just sad news, because they were going to be doing Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it was supposed to be coming out, and they were really excited and working on this project. And it just goes to show you that on all these games and all these projects that we all love and enjoy, there's human faces behind it, and a lot of the times people are with us when it starts, and by the time it comes out and it ends, they're just no longer here with us.
Yeah, it really is sad that this they were not able to see the project come to life, because Beyond Good and Evil is it's getting up there with Half-Life 3. In terms of a game that was announced and then it just never came out. And it's like you said, you never really pay attention to this stuff, because it's usually the focus is on the video game itself, but there are people behind these games and with lives, and it just sucks that now this is such a sad part of like the gaming industry that we don't really recognize.
Yeah.
So condolences to their family.
Yes, definitely, and hopefully they do the game justice so that way
I hope it
they
just
can
comes
pay
out.
tribute. You know.
Yeah, at this rate, you gotta just put something out just to like honor their legacy.
Yeah.
Put
for
all
sure.
the work that they've been putting into the game, like have it mean something.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is what it is.
Condolences
Yeah.
to the families and the
Yes,
friends.
and the friends,
Definitely.
and the crew, the team.
Yes.
at
Yeah, these
at
people work so
Ubisoft.
closely together, for years, making this work on the same project.
Yeah, so it's like their family.
Yeah, and definitely become part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get into the next bit of news. This one is about Starfield and how people are ecstatic that the 12-month delay is working, especially after the Starfield Direct. Lots of people are praising the delay because they realize that it looks a lot better. The gameplay looks a lot better. The gunplay, everything about it is just looking better. And I want to applaud just everybody who's looking at this delay in a good way, because I'm sick and tired of the unfinished, buggy, crappy looking games that are coming out, not just from Bethesda, just in general.
Yeah,
Like even from Jedi Survivors, which I love, but still was so poorly optimized. It was just a pain in some points. We want those delays because they work.
yeah. For the most part, a delayed game usually ends up being better than before when it was originally supposed to come out. That's if there's been development issues, that is. So like I know we're it's safe to say we're past the pandemic, right? Like I think that's an okay thing to say, right?
It
Yeah.
ended today, actually.
What's that?
It officially ended today, actually.
Really?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Says who?
The Biden administration.
Oh, well,
And
it's the news to me.
CDC.
I didn't know there was an official date. I thought we were just kind of like gradually
No,
getting
Gradually
past it.
forgetting about it's there.
Yeah,
No,
I
they-
mean,
Since not a lot of
announced
people
it.
are dying.
well,
I mean, people are still dying. The ones that no, let's not talk about that.
yeah.
That's
This
facts,
is
facts.
not the
Not this
podcast for that. But yeah. So like, a lot of the development issues came from the pandemic. So I don't think it's unfair to say that pretty much every game within the past few years since 2020, at least that was in the middle of development or started development, had issues.
Yeah.
That included games like Cyberpunk and Halo and even Call of Duty and like all these games and Jedi Survivor. All these games had development issues. Now, it's up to the publisher to recognize these issues because they had to move to work from home or they had to stop for a few months, like altogether. That's a lot of time in development to lose. So it was up to the publisher to determine if the game needed extra time. And a lot of games didn't get a delay or they didn't get enough of a delay. Like they got the delay of how much time they missed not working on it, like maybe like a month or two, or maybe up to like 6 months. But that's not that because you're not accounting for the adaptive or studios having to adapt to a new working cycle from working from home and hybrid and all that stuff. That's a lot to learn, and the gaming industry was not prepared for it at all.
No, I
And
mean you go from a studio that has all your tools and everything you absolutely need to your home computer.
yeah,
It's a big difference.
yeah, unless you are already working from home, then you're gonna struggle, and you would have to figure out communications and Zooms and Teams and whatever you use. It was a lot to adapt to. But thankfully, I feel like now we're starting to see at least from the games that were delayed, we're starting to see them flourish at least. And and the games that were still in development that didn't necessarily have a release date, they probably got pushed back anyway. They're probably gonna come out, and hopefully they'll be relatively bug free. And Starfield is one example of that, because that was supposed to come out in
wasn't it 20? I think it was 2021.
That was the initial rumor
Yeah.
date that they were gonna do 2021. Then they announced 2022, well, November 2022.
Yes.
And they clearly they weren't if you could see the difference from the first time it was shown to now, it's drastically different.
Yeah, definitely. The gunplay, the graphics, you could definitely tell there's a major upgrade. So
the density in the cities.
Oh yes,
there's people walking around. It doesn't look like a ghost town.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a big difference.
Yeah, so I'm glad that more games are starting to get it, and especially Starfield, because Starfield was about to be, I mean, people are already saying it. It's shaping up to be the game of the generation.
But you know what? Bethesda makes those type of games.
Exactly.
They always have.
Exactly.
You know,
but this
because
one has
people are still playing Morrowind.
Morrowind. They're still playing Skyrim.
People still playing Skyrim. Exactly.
Still playing Fallout 4, New Vegas 3. The Bethesda games are basically timeless.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to nail it. You cannot miss. Bethesda, even though they have a lot of bugs, that was old Bethesda. That was you kind of could forgive it. This time, there's a lot of pressure coming off from Starfield.
There is some charm to Bethesda's bugs, though, because especially in such a big open world, this universe that they're building, we're gonna see bugs, but it just everybody's playthrough is gonna be a little bit different because people are gonna do things differently. So we're gonna end up seeing clips of this game for forever of something different that nobody else has experienced, because that's just how the game is. And it's gonna be a bug that is gonna happen to some people or happen to nobody, and somebody's gonna clip it, and it's gonna be hilarious. And I just can't wait for it.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I love that shit though. Honestly, I used to. I'm just not this tangentially related, because it's like a glitch or glitches. I used to play what was it? It was a SmackDown versus Raw, 2008 or whatever.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And I used to play online with one of my friends, but my disc had gotten scratched so badly, and I took it to a store, and they cleaned it for me, or I thought they cleaned it to where it could run, but it ran, but all the guys were glitching out, so they were twitching, their arms were in their head or whatever. But I still played it because it was hilarious, and it was one of the most best memories of gaming that I had, because it was just, it cracked me up, and I used to play it all the time. So so glitches and bugs and stuff, they don't have to be game breaking, and they don't have to ruin the experience. They can be part of the experience. It just depends on what it is.
Oh, he's like, speak for yourself, right?
Right?
I mean, I'm just listening. I listened to the whole thing, and part of me blacked out, and I was like, wait.
Well, do you guys have your favorite bug? It's a weird question. Do you have a favorite bug or glitch in a game?
Grand Theft Auto, the swing glitch.
Oh wait, GTA 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I used to love messing with that, just launching the car all the way to another country.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
Honestly, I feel like GTA has some of the weirdest glitches when giving people enough time.
It's one of those how do you even figure this out?
I guess mine will probably be Skyrim, where you can just take your horse and just go up a mountain with
with the horse.
You can literally climb a mountain with your horse and get away with it. Next thing you know, you're at your destination in less than half the time, and you're just like, yep, I just climbed that gigantic mountain over there. That's definitely not supposed to be in a game.
Yeah.
That's always my favorite. I always take my horse up a mountain in Skyrim.
Of course you do. Cheating ass mother.
Hey, if it works, it
Works,
is.
it works.
It is
I
what it
can't-
is.
Can't deny it.
Right. All right. So the next bit of news we have, Microsoft has just announced some new safety features where it's voice reporting feature where you can capture clips of people's voices in game chat and report inappropriate voice activity. And while this feature is good to have, especially because, you know, the old
I'm
COD
going to-
lobby days.
I'm going to go
I
to
was-
jail.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
that.
rest in peace, Call of Duty
No.
lobbies.
Yes. I
Call
mean,
of Duty lobbies. All lobbies.
all lobbies, yeah, all lobbies, anywhere, everywhere. You know what? And people are going to. They even said that you can just hit record the clip and report later, so it doesn't interrupt your gameplay.
That's
So like
crazy.
they're really innovating on the reporting system because as Phil Spencer said that they want a safe community for their game lips.
We're getting rid of all toxicity in this game world one step at a time.
Honestly, I'm surprised it took this long to like implement. Like what?
Yeah.
Because we were
Dude.
talking about this like I can't even remember.
To be honest,
Go ahead.
it kind of has to, because if you do a little too much, you know, people will always sue something to be like, this goes against my First Amendment for America. Because remember, it's Microsoft, and it's Microsoft the station in America. Sony, not too sure. Don't really care enough to feel good up either.
I mean, they're based in America now. I think
Yeah,
like
like-
last year they moved to their home base in America. So
Yeah, if you do enough where it's enough recordings, people are gonna be like, this gets my privacy. But like,
Yeah.
But also like they're a private corporation and they can set their
Yeah, they
safety
can.
standards, you
Yeah,
know,
but
and
my thing
and-
is like they might not have been in like their contracts before.
I was gonna say they
Or,
probably
like-
have to update like the terms of service and let
Yeah,
people
and
know.
then you gotta
Well,
make
I'm
sure,
sure-
it's.
I'm
you gotta
sure
make sure
there's
it's actually
some-
lawyer friendly.
yeah, I'm sure that there is going to be an update and you have to agree to it, and if you agree to it, then there you go. And plus, once you sign up for these things like Xbox Live and or even PlayStation Premiere, if you do all these things, you have to abide by their rules and terms of service automatically. That's
Yeah.
so I don't think we'll be getting into that realm of you're violating First Amendment right or anything like that. I mean, of course, this is America. You can decide to sue whoever you want to sue, but like the FTC found out, you're not always gonna win.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I feel like it's a double-edged sword. So there's a lot of positives to it, but I feel like it can be used for like nefarious reasons. I just hope
yeah.
that they plan this out so that way people don't abuse it.
Well, they always do. So, like, all right. So I'll tell you a little side story that has to do with Xbox enforcement, because they have a whole Xbox enforcement like department, and what they do is they do an investigation for every report that goes out there, whether it be in game or through Xbox, and they have people who listen to and or read chats and everything. And if they deem whatever it is that is reported, if they deem it to be inappropriate, they will start issuing bans. And the bans start out in increments of 24 hours. So your first offense will be a 24-hour communications ban. After that, it's like 3 days, and then you get a week. And then after the week, if it gets really bad, they'll do monthly and or permabans, depending on how bad it is. But they do have a whole enforcement department. And ask me how I know that.
How do you know that? Oh, you've had to deal with them.
Absolutely, I had to deal with them. Yeah, I had a 24-hour communications ban on Xbox before.
Oh,
yeah,
Zay.
yeah, bad boy. I'm
You've
a
been bad.
boy.
You've been playing so much Call of Duty, raging out.
No, it wasn't Call of Duty. It was actually Rocket League.
Rocket League.
Yeah, some dude he like enticed me, was calling me names in the Rocket League chat. So I sent him a message and called him like a bitch, and he reported that message. And because he reported that message, and it was just a chat, and it was just me sending him, "You're a bitch." There was nothing before that, so they had no contact. So they were like, "Okay, well, you called him a bitch, so here's a 24-hour."
Damn.
So
Why
yeah,
would you write that? Why would you write that? You knew better.
I was pissed. Okay, Tay. All right.
I know.
Damn.
I understand.
When you
I've
let
been-
when you let the rage take over.
He was being crazy on the chat, on the voice chat. He was being racist, and then like I ended up beating him by 1 score, and
That
I was
was
like, "You're
enough.
a bitch," and boom.
Wait, so you won and you still called them?
Yes.
Sometimes
Damn.
the win is
heard
not.
what this dude was saying to me on the voice chat. I was like, "Oh no."
Brothers A.
Talk
I
to me.
understand. I understand. As someone who's been in Call of Duty lives and 2K competitive chats, ooh, you'll hear the N word thrown at you a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's one of those, you know, like I won, I beat him, even though he was taunting me and being a bitch. You know, I sent that message, and I deserved the 24-hour ban because I said it. You know, it was like whatever.
Brothers A, I want you from now on. Whenever you play people like that, I want you just when you beat them, just put how did it taste?
Yeah, that's a good response. That's a perfect response.
Because I win those matches, especially in my younger times when I used to play all the time. When I win those matches, I just send a message like, "How'd it taste?"
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I've been blocked a lot.
I used to laugh at like that type of stuff. It was funny. My cousin, because when I was younger, we used to do. You ever heard of game battles?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we used to do that. It was me and it was me, 2 of my cousins, and my cousin's friend. Like we were all in like a clan together, and we used to play Call of Duty 4.
Well, what kind of clan? Whoa.
No, a clan, a gaming clan. Come on, you remember those days?
You are kind of pale.
No, no. So both of my other cousins used to get us in so much shit and talk so much trash, and we would end up losing. I'm like, why you talk so much trash and you can't even like back it up?
That's all they had. That's all they had.
And no, there would be one time where we would be playing and we would be losing, and my cousin would be like, 1v1 me then, 1v1 me, and then like they would leave and then invite him. He's like, I'm not going to that shit. He's like, I'm just trying to get him out of here.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Oh man.
All
Good
right.
times.
So
yeah,
we'll continue.
hopefully it's just monitored properly.
Yeah,
and used properly.
I believe it will. They have a good track record based off my personal experience.
Okay.
You know, so we get some good news for the workers of Sega of America. They voted this past week to unionize. So more than 200 workers voted in Irvine and Burbank, California. They voted to unionize under the Allied Employees Guild Improving Sega banner, which represents the Communications Workers of America.
That's
So
really
they-
interesting.
Yeah,
like,
so-
because gaming doesn't really have many unions.
They don't.
I think there's only like, I can count on like one hand.
Yeah, one hand. There's less than 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like big unions for gamers, for the game developers.
Yeah.
And I think of it as a great thing, you know, because like we've been hearing all this week about mega corporations and trillion-dollar companies and layoffs, you know, just having a union to stand there and back you up and fight for you against these big mega corporations is really good. You know,
Yeah.
that's a win for the people, and that's all I want.
Yeah, especially now because like we're currently experiencing 2 strikes in the entertainment industry with the writer's strike
And now the actors strike.
and possibly the Screen Actors Guild strike. So
Yep.
it's like the what was it? I literally just read it when I was on coming home. That one of the one of the offers that the studios wanted to give was that they wanted to basically scan, like, well, they said for background actors, but it could have expanded to actual actors, like main actors, where they wanted to scan their likeness and use an AI algorithm, whatever, to basically be able to use them
Oh,
in
that's crazy.
perpetuity, like going forward indefinitely, forever, and they would only get paid for the one time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's insane. And it's like that stuff needs to be protected against. 'Cause
Absolutely.
especially with the rise of AI, like we're already starting to hear rumblings about AI being implemented into games where you can have dynamic dialogue with NPCs and stuff like that. And it's like there has to be like some type of limitations there. And I feel like unions that's what they're there for. And hopefully more studios and developers, publishers, whatever, they start to embrace more unionizations in the industry, because these people need it.
Absolutely. Especially game developers. Game developing is in itself is hard work. And a lot of times you're nearly done with a game and it's like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah,
You're gone.
and then they get laid off.
They
and
get
then
laid
on
off.
to the next
they
one.
have to go to and find new employment and another developer. So just having that security and the ability to fight for better pay and better working conditions, it's always good. It's always good. And it wasn't unanimous, but it was a landslide. It was a 91 votes to
majority.
26
Yeah,
no's.
That might as well be like
So
overwhelming.
it was definitely a landslide to vote to be in the union. So I'm happy for all the workers over there at Sega of America and now they're able to fight for themselves for better working conditions.
Nice. Good for them.
Definitely. And so a few months ago, Xbox and Microsoft took off the ability to emulate on the retail version of your console, so you couldn't run any emulators. But now that's back. There's been a group where you have to pay $2, I think, a month to be able to emulate now. But you won't have to be on developer mode for the console anymore. You could do it in retail. But they're keeping it super secret because they don't want Microsoft to close this sort of loophole that they've opened up. But for $2 a month, you can absolutely emulate on your Xbox now.
I wonder if this is one of those things where it's like, and I hate to use this phrase, but like, don't ask, don't tell. Like, where I know I couldn't think of anything else. I know it's a really bad phrase to use, but
I haven't
it's
heard
one
that
of
phrase in a while.
I feel like it applies here, where it's like Microsoft obviously is not going to condone this stuff.
Yeah.
And neither is like any of like the emulators like Nintendo or whatever. They're not going to condone it. They were the reason why it got taken down initially. So it's one of those like, they're not going to say anything about it as long as you don't make it too broad and well known. Obviously, if it starts becoming more popular and big, then they got to step in.
I don't think they will, but I mean,
but how does this work? Because like, I've done the developer mode thing, and I've tried doing emulation, and it works. It works. There's a lot of like hoops you got to jump through, but it works.
Yes.
So how does it work like with retail where you don't have to do anything?
So
is it like an app? It's a UWP.
It's from what I'm looking at, from what I've read, it's all through the Microsoft Edge browser. You have to go onto a particular website where they can do it through the browser. It is, this is what I've been reading. But again, they're keeping it super secret. I know the name of the group, but don't want to say it. I don't want to put it out there,
Okay. You can look it up yourself. Look it up yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can look it up yourself, and it's through Patreon where you pay them and all that, but they'll give you access to emulators where you can run, all your 64, your PlayStation games, Super NES, Sega, Genesis, all this other good stuff to be able to play on retail mode again. So,
what's funny? This kind of is the reason that at least Sony gave for why they don't have a browser on the PS5, because of exploits like this. Because you can use the browser to, well, I mean, maybe not right now, but you can like jailbreak your system.
Yeah.
And they don't want that.
Sony don't want a lot of things for their players.
They don't.
They want their money, and that's it.
That's
I
true.
told you. And they're gonna keep getting it. Can't help. They can't help it.
Yeah, so it's all right. So this time we got some news about Ratchet and Clank because the PC specs for Ratchet and Clank have came out, and everybody's been clowning Sony because Sony and the developers all said that you cannot play Ratchet and Clank without an SSD. It needs that PS5 Magic SSD. And then the specs come out for Ratchet and Clank on PC, and lo and behold, you do not need that SSD. So my question is, did they knowingly lie to their fans, or did they stretch the truth to try and get more sales for themselves?
I think it's the latter. They definitely stretch the truth so that way they can make players believe that this can only run on PlayStation 5. Even though when around the game when it came out, there was a developer who used to work at Insomniac that said, because he worked on the game before he left, and he said himself, this can be done on Xbox. It's not something specific to PlayStation. It's not something specific to the type of SSD that it uses. It's just a matter of like how they did it, and it could be replicated on another platform. So,
And it has.
and it has. So it's like, I don't know why. I honestly gotta give it to Sony because they convinced a lot of people that this was only possible on the SSD. And then Insomniac even went on and said it that you need the SSD to do this. I even posted on Twitter. I was like, wow, Insomniac truly are wizards when they can like get rid of the SSD requirement to make this game work.
It's really crazy that they literally fooled their whole player base. And they were all out there touting this, all on social media. You need the SSD. SSD is required. It's next level gaming. And then here come the minimum specs, where the minimum specs are you could use a NVIDIA GeForce GXT 960.
Sure.
A 960 GPU, right? You can do it. You can do on a i3 Intel Core i3 with just 8 gigs of RAM and at least a 75 gigabyte hard drive, or just a regular hard drive. And those are the very minimal specs. And that is like a 360 spec.
Pretty much. That is.
You know, that's.
I mean,
how
you'd probably
the
be playing
minimum-
at like 15 frames per second at like
No, it's seven. They say it's 720p 30,
probably
but
up to 720p.
yeah. We both know what that means in PlayStation world.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say minimum 720p, but that's upscaled for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's egregious what they've done to their fans, because their fans are out there, raising that SSD flag, and here it comes.
You notice how
slapping them in their face.
that argument hasn't really been used much anymore. The whole SSD thing.
I mean, because it's not all right.
It's not. It doesn't really make that much of a difference.
It doesn't make the difference. But they made their player base believe that.
Yeah,
and
for so long.
Everybody was touting it forever. Oh, you need SSD. You need SSD. Meanwhile, PCs have been using SSDs and MDFEs for how long?
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's not nothing special.
yeah.
It's just crazy.
I think Starfield, didn't they say the PC version needs an SSD?
So yeah, they did. They
yeah,
actually
so it's
did.
like, yeah, they're sticking to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does for how they want to run it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they never, at least Xbox never said, "Oh, you need an SSD to run this game."
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
I mean, you'll be able to play. Honestly, you're gonna be able to play Starfield in the cloud, on Game
True.
Pass,
True.
on a freaking iPad. So you don't technically need the SSD.
True.
They're not out here. Not all of Xbox is out here talking about, oh, you're gonna need this console. You need that SSD.
Yeah, it's like play whatever
not
you
like
want.
how they were.
Yeah.
So It's just egregious.
All right. Well, I mean, it is what it is. At least now it's like exposed.
Exposed. All right. Well, we're gonna get into the last leg of everything, the FTC news, the big
Yes.
bombshells of all this week, all coming back to back to back. It's nonstop because, like producer Jay said,
Not over.
it's not over, and we're getting more news literally day by day.
Literally just now.
Yeah.
So I'll update you guys because as you know, well, we got an update.
We'll do it in order. We'll do it in
All right,
order.
we'll do it in order. But we definitely got an update like literally 4 minutes ago.
Okay.
Like that's how like fast that this stuff is coming out.
Yeah. So we'll do it in order because earlier this week on Tuesday, the FTC judge denied the preliminary injunction. So the California judge is allowing Microsoft to close its acquisition of Activision Blizzard after 5 days of testimony, and she has denied the injunction. And we're gonna read just a little bit of her actual statement, Judge Corley's actual statement, because I feel like I don't feel like people are gonna go out there and read this. You know, they'll hear about it, they'll hear that it was denied, but nobody's gonna actually hear her words. And I feel like it's important for everybody to hear her words, especially if you've been, watching closely about all this news.
Okay.
So we'll get into a little bit what she says. And it says, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been described as the largest in tech history. It deserves scrutiny. That scrutiny has paid off. Microsoft has committed in writing, in public, and in court to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years on propriety with Xbox. It made an agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch, and it entered several agreements to, for the first time, bring Activision's content to several cloud gaming services. This court's responsibility in this case is narrow. It is to decide if, notwithstanding these current circumstances, the merger should be halted, perhaps even terminated, pending resolution of the FTC administrative action. For the reasons explained, the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claims. This particular vertical merger in this specific industry may substantially lessen competition. To the contrary, the record evidence points to more consumers' access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion of preliminary injunction is therefore denied. Those were her exact words. And
It makes sense.
It
'Cause,
does.
like that, what I was saying leading up to today, leading up to the decision rather, that the goal for the FTC was not to prove that what the merger was, or if the merger was wrong or not. They just wanted to prove that they needed more time. And this is what the preliminary injunction does. It gives them more time. But because of the closeness to the closing deadline, it basically was the make or break. And that's what their goal was. They want Microsoft and Activision to walk away. And that's what they said they were going to do. During the hearings, they said they were going to walk away. And we don't know for sure because obviously they had the option of extending the deadline if they wanted to, but then they have to go through the whole process of going to the shareholders again. It would have been a whole thing. So they don't want to go through that. So it was basically if the preliminary injunction was granted, that's it. So there was a lot that they had to. They were basically on an uphill battle because they had to prove that there's reasonable doubt of Microsoft doing a bunch of different things, foreclosing or taking games away or not being able to fulfill contracts that they already signed or that are situational contracts, whatever, with Nintendo and Nvidia and all these other publishers and not publishers, services.
services.
So they had to do all that. And they had to also explain basically the industry to a judge that doesn't necessarily know about that stuff. Now, granted, she was very open-minded about this stuff, and she did a good job at getting the gist of how everything works, and who are the players, what they do, what has happened, and what might happen or might not happen. And she did all that in like 5 days or 7 days, if you include the weekend and the holiday.
Yeah.
So she did a good job. She did her due diligence. And now she issued or denied the PI. And now they're actually they appealed because they have the opportunity to appeal. And basically it's literally like what I've said. It's like a race to that deadline. And what it made me laugh when I read it. The FTC is still, like, they knew that their argument lost. The FTC lost. They lost against Microsoft.
They did.
And they knew that the argument they used was not sufficient enough to prove the judge that the merger shouldn't, or that the merger needs more time. So in the appeal, they're still using the same arguments to basically say that, no, the judge was just wrong. So it's like, and what also made me laugh too is that, I mean, granted, I'm learning about this stuff as it happens. That's also the interesting part of it. That before the appeal, they technically had to basically ask the judge to do it again. So I don't know the exact definition or like what the name of it is, but it's like they submit a motion to say, hey, judge, you got it wrong, do it again. And the judge can either look at it again and say, oh, yeah, I got this wrong. Or they can be like, no. So the update from what I just said from a few minutes ago, that's what it was. They submitted it to the judge, and the judge said no. So now they're going full force with the appeal. But now we were tuning into the live stream of the FTC's head or chair, Lena Khan, getting basically like roasted by Congress on her inability to basically win a case.
Do anything.
Do anything over the past, what was like 7 cases that she's had? 7
9.
or 8? 9. That it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not winning these cases? And they were grilling her. And in particular, like, there was some other cases that she could have merit on or whatever. And that's for a different discussion. But as it pertains to ABK, they were going in and basically calling her out and being like, yo, why are you like pursuing this of all things after you lost? And it was crazy. She even, like, I don't know if she meant to do this, but she basically threw her staff under the bus.
Oh yeah, she did. She definitely blamed her staff for what was it, for appealing? It was her staff's choice to appeal.
Recommendation, yeah. So that's insane. Like, how do you say that? It's like, you were the chair of the FTC. Like, how do you just say, oh, that was the staff who did that? Like, that wasn't me. Yeah. And
honestly, I think when it comes to the appeal, I think they only appealed because she was going to be facing Congress today. Because if they appealed, that means that she doesn't have to answer questions.
Yeah, because they're in the middle.
Because they're still ongoing. You know, if they did an appeal, she can answer questions because it's no longer ongoing. They lost.
Yeah.
But now it's appealed. She can't really talk about it. She's off the hook.
Yeah.
That's
feel
what
like
her call was.
The whole appealing is basically the FTC trying to save face. They don't want to admit that they lost, and they want to take it as far as they can, even though, and even the congressman said, like, you lost and you're appealing a case that you know is going to lose because they are going to go over the same findings of fact that the judge went over.
Yes.
And they're going to find the same thing because that's the facts. They're looking over the facts and they're going to come to the same conclusion. And they even pointed out, because I think Lena Khan was appointed by Joe Biden. So,
Yes.
and the congressman pointed out that the judge that gave the ruling is also a Biden judge. So it's like
Yes.
your own party said you were wrong and you're still appealing it. Like that's like you're doing it based on principle. And that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like you said, they have to ask Judge Corley to look it over again before it goes to the official Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Mhm.
But right now, Judge Corley is busy. She has other cases that she's working on. Honestly, if I was Judge Corley, I would be like, I'm not looking at this until Monday because I'm busy. And then not tell them anything until Monday. Xbox
Yeah,
and Microsoft
she coulda-
closes.
Yeah,
And then
no.
and then the appeals court is just like, well, they closed already.
Yeah, no, she could have actually been a like really petty with this.
she really can, because the FTC is just wasting her time, wasting the taxpayers' money, like they said over the course of this hearing today, because she went there asking for what 33% increase in funding, and they gave her a 25% deduction in funding.
Mhm.
They were grilling her over and over about wastefulness, about how they're sending people to Europe to have communications with European regulators, and the Congress people are like, why?
Yeah.
You're the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. You should be worried about stuff here. Why are you sending and wasting taxpayer money to send people to Europe and to you can use a phone, you
Yeah.
can use email. There's Zoom. There are so many ways that they can still do their job without having to spend taxpayer money and going to Europe and all these other places to do their job.
Yeah.
And she went in there asking for a raise, and they actually cut her salary and stuff.
Yeah. They didn't cut her salary. They just
No,
cut
I
the
know, I
funding
know.
to the FTC in
I
general.
know. I'm being an ass.
No, but yeah, no, and it's just crazy how much they're fighting for this. Like I don't understand. So I mean, basically now the only thing left for the FTC is the appeal, which is gonna get heard tomorrow. I think they already submitted it, and Microsoft already issued their response.
Yes, Microsoft already issued their response. I actually have their response right here. So they're basically saying their response, because it's a 5-page edit of their response. They're just going over the facts, saying that the injunction was not granted. The preliminary injunction was not granted by the judge. All the facts are there. You will have to just go over the same facts that she had went over and come to a similar conclusion, and it will be a waste of everybody's time and money to do so, because they're have been more than open to discuss remedies and everything with everybody else, and they just want the deal blocked. So they don't believe that they should even be granted the appeal because of it. So
Yeah.
they were quick to respond. It was quick. It was short. They responded already, and now we literally have to wait, because the temporary restraining order lifts tomorrow at 11:59.
Mm-hmm. And then
So-
that's the interesting thing. So, I believe it was an Activision memo. I'm not entirely sure. I saw like a document that basically was saying that they are prepared to close even on as early as 12:01 Saturday.
Yes, because that
So-
will be literally after the temporary restraining order lifts.
Yes.
And more evidence points toward that, because in the stock market, Activision Blizzard was removed.
Yes. They said that
And-
they're being prepared to be replaced come Monday.
Come Monday, yeah, as we know, they can close Saturday morning. They can close Monday morning when they open up. Boom, their Activision is now part of Microsoft, and it'd be divested, right into Microsoft stock, instead of having two different stocks. And all that can happen on Monday. This weekend is gonna have a lot of news, a lot of updates, all from us and the gaming community in general
Yes.
about when this will actually drop. You know,
Yes.
when will it close? When will it be 100% official? Even through all the August court dates and everything, I still think after Saturday, Microsoft will close over the FTC's appeal
So
and deal strictly with the CMAs trying to get some remedies from them so that they can also close there.
so I was actually just about to bring that up because we just got an update on that too.
Tell us.
So so Bloomberg just posted an article that is saying that Microsoft is considering selling UK cloud gaming rights to a telecommunications, gaming, or internet company to allow the Activision deal to close with the CMA. So basically, they're not gonna close it. They're not gonna give it or like shut down the cloud gaming. They're just gonna basically put it in charge of somebody else. And I'm reading from Tom Warren on Twitter, which
Yes.
I get everything from him. He's been on top of everything, and he's in the UK. So right now it's like freaking 12 a.m. right now, and he's still posting. So he's basically assuming that it would probably be one of the UK like phone companies. What was the one that I think they signed a deal with one already in the UK. It was like EE or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the cloud gaming one?
Yeah. So I wonder if I really would have to see like what it means. I can't go to Bloomberg because they freaking paywalled it. But yeah. So basically, they would put the cloud gaming. So there will be no xCloud on Game Pass. They would take it out and basically shift it over to that, and that'll be the go-to for Xbox games. And honestly, that's not the worst trade. It probably means a revenue share of some kind, I would assume, but that's a small price to pay for what this deal is going to give you.
Oh yeah, and let's just be honest here. There's like what, maybe 3,000 cloud players in
That's
the UK.
true too. Yeah, people in the UK were willing to give up cloud gaming altogether, as it is. So
yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I think. I think it will be fine with closing over FTC's appeal and dealing with divesting cloud to another company or whatever. They can easily do that, no big deal, and have no worries. Go forward with the deal and just bring all those studios into Microsoft, and this can be over with. I still think we'll have more ABK news dealing down the line, but I think overall we'll see official closure of this deal come Monday.
yeah, and we'll talk about it next week, hopefully, because I feel like every time we say we'll be done with it, we're never done with it. So and I mean, it's fun to talk about, honestly. Like a lot of times, like, people find this stuff boring, but I find it so interesting. Like it's just so fun.
I mean, it's gaming news of the century. You know, this is something that's never happened before, and we'll probably never see something as big as this happen ever again.
True.
You know, so this is setting the tone for, you know, history. It's history in the making right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Tay, you got anything to say?
No.
You're really quiet there. I know this stuff is really.
Nah, it was cute. It was cute.
Cute. Wow.
That's it. This whole thing is cute.
No, I meant the last few minutes of you guys talking. It was like really cute.
We were gushing.
Yeah, I know, right? I got a little flush on me.
I know. That's why I said it's. Sometimes you.
No,
Can't. Sometimes you
I
guys stay
honestly.
quiet, let the moment ride out. It's
No,
very nice.
honestly, I would have thought if I wasn't so interested in this, like I can see why people like don't want to talk about it. There's a lot of people, like especially like on Twitter and stuff like that. There's people who just don't even care. It's like just get it over with, and I'm with them. But I also like learning about this stuff because like I don't know, it's just interesting to me.
Oh no, that's really interesting. I would never say it's not interesting. And the side effect of I am a complete learner and the love of forgot the word, how to say the word that starts with a T. Trivia. There it is.
There you go.
But I can fully understand. Some people don't like it. You know?
Yeah.
It don't. It is what it is.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Those
But,
people don't have to like it, because all they're gonna do is just listen to us talk about it and say, "Hey, I know
Yeah.
about that," because they heard it on Loading Up.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But I guess that'll do it for this week. Hopefully nothing too crazy happens, and we'll be talking about what games we want from Activision next week.
Wow, could you imagine?
Finally, man. Yo, I wanted to talk about that so much, but it's just like it's all hypothetical and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Now we can actually talk about it for real.
Let's. How about this? Let's wait until the deal is officially done
then
and
we
it's
can talk
under
about it.
Microsoft, and then we'll do a list.
Yeah, we'll make a list of games that we
And then
want to be
then we're
revived.
back to making predictions. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's
brother
go,
Take.
boy.
So brother Take and shine, and he'll be right.
Like always.
Yeah, like always.
Like always.
So
It's funny how we're the ones who are so. Me and you were just like back and forth on this. He's like sitting here listening to us, just soaking it all in, and he gets all the predictions
Yeah,
right.
he's
Meanwhile,
just
me
like,
and you are
yeah,
completely wrong.
we're just wrong, and he's just like, this is gonna happen.
yeah.
And I was like, why?
Y'all don't understand the market like I do.
I
I've been
mean,
marketing
he's
for years.
observing. He's a lurker.
Yeah.
He don't talk. He just observes.
Yeah,
Your mother-
he gets it right. It's okay.
Didn't your parents always tell you always be aware of the quiet ones? They're a
That's
danger.
true. Very
That's-
true. Look at that.
That's okay. That's why you're here, Tay. You're here to set us straight with your predictions.
There you go.
That and the excuse. You know what? It's every podcast we do it.
This every podcast. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night. Peace.
Laters.
Hey guys, it's producer Jay here. Just wanted to add a little bit of an update to this podcast at the end, because as I am editing this, because we recorded on Thursday, I'm editing this on Friday, and it just got out that the FTC was denied the appeal, and we now know that the merger between Microsoft and Activision is allowed to close, at least in the U.S. By the time this uploads, it's going to be Saturday, and you should know by now if the deal is closed, because we know that there's a hearing on Monday for the trial for the CMA, and I don't know if that's going to be like a whole thing where they got to do anything in particular, or if it's just like a formal thing, like they just got to say they're doing something on Monday to announce a new deal or whatever. We heard that they were working with the CMA to restructure the merger to make it more appealing for both sides. But as of right now, as I'm recording Friday night, the deal is cleared to close in the U.S. So I am very excited, and I was recording actually the footage that you saw of Modern Warfare 2, because miraculously, or coincidentally I should say, the servers were back online for the 360 original Modern Warfare 2. So and we were just talking, me and brother Matt and brother Zay, and we were just having a good time, just essentially celebrating. So yeah, I just wanted to put this little update at the end, just so it's clear. So that's it, and we'll see you next week, where we'll probably talk about what we want and what we expect from this merger. So welcome to the Xbox family, I guess, for Activision Blizzard King. See ya.